Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. This is the nerdy podcast of Ice and Fire. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I am the other Sam.
Oh, yes, Sam 1 and Sam 2. Oh, my God, it's
Sam
been a
too,
week.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We
It has
didn't do
been, we didn't do last week because I had been to work all day, my back hurt, and the idea of sitting in the chair for another few hours made me physically ill. So I cancelled. My apologies. But we're back this week. We're back with a top 5. Do you want to tell them what the top 5 is?
Yes, top 5 satisfying deaths.
Roll the sleeves up. I'm ready for this.
I know. That's something I've got them written down as normal on my little cue cards, and you've got them all in your head as well.
I've got, because it was the easiest list to make. There's nothing difficult about this list, but I will get the disclaimer out the way with, and we will get started. Obviously, I just want to apologize for this. I look very tired. I realize that my eyes look incredibly small right now, so I apologize in advance.
And I want to apologize because I've not even had a shower today. I decided today was another no day. I tied my hair back, and that was that.
And he's ready to podcast.
Exactly.
Right. So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group where we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Yes.
And I appreciate I'm the only one who says this in the Nerdy Up North camp, but I do stand by it.
I think it is very important in nerdism in general, really, because there's so many different loves and hates everywhere, and even when it comes to specified topics, like with our podcast, is that there's a lot of things that people love and a lot of things that hate. People meet in the middle, people don't. We've had this already on the podcast with some of the
we have, and we are still friends. See,
we are.
It's called Healthy Discussions. This one is just going to be mint.
This one, because I think that when it comes to satisfying deaths, I think that it's very much a case of, even if you don't like that, even if you hate that person or even love that person, you can still feel it's a bit of a satisfying death as well.
Oh, yes. And every single one of mine fucking deserved it.
There's the beauty of Game of Thrones and House of Dragon as well. I mean, we've not included any House of Dragon in some top 5s as yet, just because obviously there's not enough to go on.
Yeah.
But obviously there's just so many deaths in Game of Thrones. I particularly have gone more for named characters. I was going to try and fling in a couple of non-named characters. I didn't think there was going to be much to talk on about why I found it very satisfying, other than just man went splat. For instance, when I think it was when the wildlings. This is one that I did soon came to my head straight away because I just watched it as well on my rewatch. Is when Wun came through the gates and the wildlings came through to help Jon when he was obviously stabbed. So I think it's season 6, episode 1, just after Mother's Mercy. I can't remember what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's this episode, or it's Battle of the Bastards. It's one of the two. But Wun gets shot, grabs someone, picks him up by his legs, and just splats him against a wall. And that's very satisfying, just because he gets splats. He just gets splatted against a wall, and you don't have many splats in Game of Thrones.
No, it's not like Batman where there's kabooms, kowallops,
big kabooms. Yeah. Definitely. One gets kicked off anyway with your top 5. We're still going by the way, everybody, with going back to back of just reeling off top 5s and talking about those deaths.
Yes. Right. Are you ready?
Number 5.
Number 5 is Meryn Trant.
Oh, yeah. I specifically didn't put him on my list because I knew you were going to put him on there. And I think I know one of the other ones sold it.
Oh, everyone knows me. Everyone knows. Everyone knows it. So yeah, Meryn Trant. Lysa Tully.
Are we not going to list them off?
I'm just going to list them. I'm just going to list them straight off. Lysa Arryn. Because I need to get these out. Walder Frey.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, they're all bastards. Okay. I don't know if this is me being tired or foggy brained. I generally couldn't. Oh yes, Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton as well. That's your number 2.
Yeah.
What
And number
is
1, oh come on, we all know it's Littlefinger.
Little
Littlefinger's death is one of my favorite, if not my favorite moment in Game of Thrones.
That scene is phenomenal because you see how he tries to worm his way out of it, and you see it, and then you just see the actual how scared he really is, and it's
The
setup.
end bit. Oh, it's
It's just
massive
the
setup. The sisters work together, something that you don't expect to happen, because the last time that you see these two together is in King's Landing, and they hate each other.
And
They
they've got a
are
bit of a
really
tumultuous
mean.
relationship coming back to Winterfell,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because as well the Baelish is specifically trying to plant the seeds to drive them further apart.
Yeah.
And you think it's worked, and that's a good list. That is. I'm glad that we don't have any similars, but that's a good list.
You generally don't know when it comes to Peter Baelish if he has got the upper hand or not, because throughout the whole series, he has always managed to get his way. And with the girls, you think it's the letter that I thought sealed the deal, with Sansa's letter being revealed that she wrote in King's Landing,
yes.
which Catelyn knew straight away when she originally read it, that that's the Queen's words. That's not Sansa. But Arya doesn't know Cersei like Catelyn knew Cersei.
Did, but also Arya knew Sansa better than Catelyn did, because Sansa, obviously being sisters and stuff like that, and they were very, very different as sisters anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Arya said it best, Sansa always wanted to be, in a pretty dress and everything like that, and with a king or a lord as a husband. And yes, that's a good one.
Yes, it is. It is my favorite. It is probably one of my favorite moments. The whole scene itself is so intense. You've got Sansa at the head of the family, and she calls upon her sister to come in, and you think, oh God, like it's gonna boot off. Like, look at all these lords around. And then she does that cheeky little eye turn when she says, when she's talking about
these crimes.
Lord Baelish.
And you see his face immediately drop, and you see a little smile from Arya as well.
It's
good.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's so satisfying, and it is incredibly poetic that the dagger is what killed him.
Tried to kill a Stark with that
the dagger that started it all, really.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the dagger that started it all, with how it went. But Baelish is one of those kind of characters, because he wormed his way. He just seemed so clever.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't. It was just so unexpected, because you just expected him to carry on doing whatever. You knew that potentially his plan with Sansa and Arya might not work completely, but work to some degree. And then obviously when it backfires massively, it's a really, really good. And obviously that you forget as well. That's I think that's middle to end of season 7 as well.
Yeah,
that's not even, that doesn't even encroach into I think it's one of the last 2 episodes of season 7. So he makes it a fair way, to be fair to him.
He does, and I'll be very honest. At the beginning of the whole thing, I generally thought it was too obvious for somebody of nobility to sit on the Iron Throne. I thought it'd be him. I was like,
you could have quite easily,
quite cunning, quite clever, quite devious, would literally sell his own soul. Like, I think he could have done it, and if that was his end game, was to sit on the Iron Throne.
But that's the thing. It depends how he's sort of working, because he seems to be working his way up the ladder, and then suddenly he falls slightly down the ladder as part of a plan, and then you don't quite know where his. I think the issue with the Baelish story is, after the Battle of the Bastards in particular. I mean, yes, he comes back to Winterfell. Is his plans trying to marry Sansa, potentially become Lord of Winterfell? She's lady.
Yeah.
I don't fully know. I think he was, because obviously he's been in the Vale for quite some time by this.
Mm.
You know, he's got the best, supposed the best warriors in the Seven
Well, if the Battle of the
Kingdoms.
Bastards are anything to go by, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And is his plan to do that? I don't know entirely because of obviously everything else that was going on at the same time. But
I
obviously he
really
was biding his time, wasn't
he's back, yeah, and it always seems like Baelish, everything that could potentially be a mistake is a happy accident for him.
he? Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
never falls on his arse.
He's spun a web so big that he can account for some things
Mm-hmm.
happening.
He's
Even when
he's a,
Sansa's very angry that he was sold off to Ramsay and everything like this. Even when he goes back to the Vale, like straight away, he's got an answer for it, and just like, oh, we were ambushed by the Boltons, and it's like, you
he's such a dick.
gay
But
bastard.
and he deserved everything. Actually, that was nice lead into one of my other ones, which was Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah, man, did he deserve it? Man, did I think out of any character, I think that because obviously Baelish was very much a schemer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
But Ramsay was just a straight up monster.
Monster is the best word to describe him.
Smart
And
monster.
if John had killed him by punching him, that wouldn't have been satisfying. That was just nothing. What she did with them dogs was brilliant, and it was her. She gave the command. I am not Sansa's biggest fan. I feel like actually over the years I used to. I hate watching season 1. I hate Sansa season 1. I feel
She's just
sorry
a
for
whiny little ginge, isn't she?
God, you just want to punch her face in. But see, Sansa season 2, I just generally feel really sorry for her, and that just. But if you really pay close attention to her arc, she does turn into this fucking badass woman.
I think she does, but I still think that she has some very naivety about her, and it causes her to have slight temper tantrums.
I think that's her dad and I don't think that's her mom. I think that's her dad.
I mean, maybe it's just very odd towards Sansa's character arc towards the end because she's just so like the whole thing about all the North should be separate. It was no, she wanted to rule somewhere. It wasn't. She realized that she wanted to rule somewhere, but if to rule somewhere, she had to marry someone. She didn't want that anymore.
No.
So the only way to do that was to have the North, and she didn't give a shit about the North people.
I don't know, because maybe she did closer to the end when, especially like the Battle of Winterfell, maybe that's what made her think, oh, this is actually worth fighting for.
Potentially, yeah, because her home gets destroyed. But I mean, it must have been really hard for her being with Ramsay in particular. I mean, yes, we have a lot of things obviously happened to Sansa in the past, but I don't think anything was quite like what obviously Ramsay did. Actually became a woman and all that sort of thing, because she was basically just a piece of meat and a name to Ramsay.
A name.
And
yeah.
It was really hard to watch it. It was happening inside of a childhood home as well in Winterfell. And, I think that if Ramsay was nicer, it could have worked out better. But he was too smart for his own good in the end, and he was just an utter monster.
Yeah,
and
there was nothing lovely about that person at
all. one
one
thing as well that I have a slight problem about with the Battle of the Bastards part is, Sansa mentions, obviously, you have fed your hands for 5 to 7 days, however long it is.
Mm-hmm.
When Ramsay actually says that, she's already ridden off by that point.
She didn't even stay around.
She hadn't heard him actually say that. I'm pretty sure that she'd already gone, and she wasn't actually in earshot when Ramsay had actually said that. Unless someone else had mentioned it before.
Or maybe he said it before, but maybe that's just a tactic of his. So like she's using it against him. Her cool and calmness at the end when she's standing at that gate is, because I'd be raging. I would be absolutely screaming the house down. You motherfucker! Like, you deserve this.
It's the first time that she's actually got to have revenge for something bad that happened to her.
Yeah.
The very first time. Every other person that did wrong to her either was still alive at that point or had been killed by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it came to Ramsay, she basically, because you saw her look at John and John look back at it, and even John knew, right, I'm stopping because this is Sansa's revenge.
Yeah, this is not me. This is not mine.
And even to the end, Ramsay thought he was, well, my hands would never hurt me, almost being quite arrogant with it. And then he kind of realised and was like, and the way that they filmed it as well is, it made your stomach turn a little bit.
Yeah, them dogs were incredibly terrifying. The size of the head alone of the one that sniffed him, the one who comes right close to him.
I'm pretty
that
sure they were
was
Cane Corsos.
Oh, really?
I think something like that anyway, obviously, because they've got to be that sort of way.
Yeah. I do love that death, very much so. But my third choice, Mr. Walder Frey. Now,
I'm surprised. You know what? I'm quite surprised that made it to your list. To be honest.
Really?
Because you know what? I think I don't. In all honesty, I don't hate Walder Frey all as much as I probably should, because I love David.
What?
I love David Bradley. David Bradley is he's a national treasure.
It is the hardest part trying to separate him from that character, because that character is awful. He is the worst. Like, set aside what he did with the Red Wedding. Let's just look at the fact of how he treats his children and his wives, his many wives.
Many wives. Even his grandchildren, how he sold one of his granddaughters off to Roose Bolton.
Roose. Oh my God, she was lovely as well. Like,
she was
really lovely, and I felt so sorry for her. That was not a satisfying death. His was, though. It was great.
I think Roose's death needed to be way more than what it was. I think it was too little.
Yeah, I don't feel like there was anything satisfying with him, and that's half the reason why Cersei isn't on my list, because there was nothing satisfying about that death.
I think when it comes to, if we spin season 8 at some point on the wheel, I've got a lot to sort of say about that and how I would personally rework that slight point as well. But Cersei, I don't think so. And as well, I'm obviously a big lover of season 8 anyway. But yes, I get why Cersei's list wasn't on there. But even Walder's, I don't think he necessarily really. I mean, him dying in general, I find satisfying, but his actual death scene was satisfying.
Loved it. I love when Arya, who has the mask on, walks in, and I knew straight away that something was iffy, but to know that his sons were in that, and that pie makes my stomach churn.
That's true, actually, and now I can get behind that. The fact she did it. It's also, I think it's actually for me, it's more Arya that makes that death really satisfying.
And she's done it twice on my list. She did it. She did it with the little finger. Now she's doing in the same manner as well.
She's 3 times on. She kills 3 of your list.
Oh my God, she does. Arya, the little devil.
I know, she's a bloody murderer.
Oh my God, yes.
Of, when she says to one of his wives as well, or daughter, whoever it is.
You've no idea at this point.
No, you don't. It could be the same thing.
Could be the same person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell them the Northrenders to tell them winter came. It's like, oh,
winter came for House Frey.
I know. It's like, oh
my God, yes.
It's so good. And obviously Walder was just so cocky and arrogant in his ways and stuff like that he didn't, even after because there was a conversation not too long obviously before that with Jaime Lannister, and I felt a little bit sorry for Walder Frey, because he tries to make a bit of a joke with Jaime and stuff like that, and Jaime's just a dick to him. And I felt a little bit bad for him in that way, because he's been shat on his entire life as a family. But he's just a slime ball, isn't he?
He does himself no favors. He has quite a very powerful house, and because of his location, if the North wants to travel, they have to go through him. So he has a lot of pull. He's just an arsehole with it, though.
Major arsehole with it. And he's backstabbed so many people, and he is a slime. But even at the Red Wedding, it's like, oh, cut your wife's throat, and he just turns and goes,
"Oh, I get another one."
Oh no,
it's that.
And it's like,
Oh,
but I mean, to be fair, that's quite badass of him to say because, like, it's like, I don't give a fuck. I've murdered. You're in base at this point. Your family's fucked. Go away, Catelyn. You've shit on me your entire life being a Tully.
yeah.
Get fucked.
It still does not stop how satisfied I am when she holds his head back after she has
Yeah.
slit his throat.
It's
I
his face as
told
well,
you this
because-
would bring out the worst in me.
it's his face as well for it as well, because he is, when he sees his son's bait, he's like, he's dumbfounded. And
Yeah,
obviously
like
he's a man in his 90s as well.
in,
That's how
in
old
he,
Walder Frey is.
wow, he looks good for 90, mind.
I
He
think it's like,
acts good for 90.
92 or 96, one of them.
But it's the look of even I wouldn't stoop to that level. That's the look he gives her, like, I wouldn't even do this shit.
Yeah. Like this is too far for even me to do as well.
Yes.
Yes, I
But-
put your brother's direwolf's head on top of his decapitated body, but
But I didn't directly do that. I just give the instruction. I'm
I
just
just
sitting
did
at
the
my chair.
instructions. They're my
I didn't.
sons.
I could not do that pie.
Yeah, no, that part. Because that also implies, obviously, that she's slaughtered his sons as well. Because obviously he's got a lot of sons, and she
Yeah, and
slaughtered them.
How long did it take her to do that?
How long was she there for? Did she do it all in one? Did she do it all in one go almost? Because
Like, that's some quick pie making. That's some quick human pie making.
I know, because not only that, in the scene afterwards, when she's pretending to be Walder Frey, she then poisons the rest of his family.
I wonder if she got Hot Pie to come and help her.
Can you imagine his face? What are we putting in this pie?
Harry.
Okay, Harry.
Harry. I love it. I'll go with Lysa Arryn, Lysa Tully. Just watching that bitch getting kicked out of a moon door was absolutely spectacular.
I think this one on the list is definitely the most poetic. It's just pure poetic justice, because she obviously thinks that she's finally won over Peter Baelish and stuff like that. She has more control as the sister, because obviously Catelyn's dead now, and she has more power. And Baelish has probably promised her everything in the world, and then all of a sudden it's
Poof, bitch out. It's the look of realization, going from complete and utter dreamy to realization. Holy shit, I'm going out this fucking door.
Your sister.
It's that was such an awful laugh.
She was such a puppet as well.
She was such a mug. She was an absolute mug. She was played like a fucking puppet.
From the start as well, because there's a little tiny snippet in there that obviously during Peter Baelish's execution, that Baelish was actually the one that gave Lysa Arryn the poison to kill Jon Arryn.
Yeah.
So she's the one that kills the person that starts it all.
When we say that Peter Baelish starts this whole thing, we really mean Peter Baelish starts this whole thing. He kick-started everything. So his death is... And I have a lot of people who message me saying they don't find Peter Baelish's death satisfying. And I'm like, hang on a minute. He stood trial in front of everyone knew his dirty fucking secrets before he got his throat slit.
Yeah. Because Bran obviously went and looked into the past a lot of things, and Peter Baelish knew the gig was up. We go back to Peter again, but knew the gig
always
was
go
up.
back to Peter's death if I can.
But because when Bran said, "I told you not to trust me," he knew that Bran could tell that that's what he told to Ned, and that's when he turns around to Sir what's his face, the one that
I love
someone
the guy of the veil.
Yeah.
I fucking
I'd imagine
love
take
the
me back
line
to the
he
veil.
says.
No,
I think not. I love that line, but I love how he delivers it. He's just like, because he knows he's a sketchy character, but he knows his place as well, and it's just I think not.
I think not.
Yeah, fuck off,
I
Peter.
know.
But yeah, like, is it Lysa? Am I saying that right? Lysa Arryn?
Yes, it is Lysa. Yeah, L-Y. Yes,
it's really hard to believe she's Catelyn Stark's sister.
Because they are just such different people, aren't they? Like Catelyn's very old school, and Lysa's just a fucking lunatic.
She is an absolute lunatic. Do you not? I get total Sansa vibes of her. Like, I think if Sansa stayed in the Vale and didn't actually, like, if she didn't have the experience of King's Landing to start, because that kind of hardened her a little bit.
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of hardened her a little bit. So if she actually went from King's Landing, say she bypassed every bad thing that happened to her, she got out before Ned died, blah, blah, and she ends up in the Vale, and she has Lysa as her guy, I really think them two would be as thick as thieves. Because
I think if Baelish wasn't involved, I do believe it, because when we see the sort of issues that Lysa has with Sansa, it revolves around, I now have Peter, nobody's dare take him away from it. That's why she's obviously shoving Sansa's head through the moon door anyway. And I mean, got to give it to Baelish. I mean, he probably didn't expect anything like that to happen, so it was like,
perfect timing though.
I don't really care. You're really fucking annoying. You know,
get out the
I know
fucking door.
you scream too much in bed as well.
She really did.
She really
that was
screams.
Completely exaggerated. Nobody acts like that. She's just really annoying, and just to watch her down
it's
that
a voice
moon
as
door.
well. A voice is.
But the actress who plays her is absolutely phenomenal. Like, there's a reason we hate her as much as we do, is because of how great she was played.
Yeah, massively.
And I get such a shock when I hear the actual actress, because she is full-blown Scottish. Really Scottish accent.
Yeah, she is, isn't she?
And I think she was on, this ITV drama that was on last year about submarine. It was really good. She was on that, and she was completely unrecognizable. I'm sure she's in Prometheus as well. So
a lot of Game of Thrones actors in general are, a lot of them you'll notice from having mostly bit part scenes in a lot of other British dramas. Yeah. That's where most of them come from. You think of one that sticks in my head is Viserys Targaryen. Because obviously, well, both Viserys Targaryens, because Paddy Constantine's been in a lot of British stuff, but also Harry Taylor, who he's been in Doctor Who, he's been in all sorts of things.
He's unrecognizable without his blonde or white hair, I should say.
Yeah, because he's got he doesn't have a sharper chin and stuff like that with his short black hair. And again, though, a really, really, really good actor.
Really, really good actor. To be honest, when it comes down to acting abilities in this program, nobody doesn't hit the mark.
It is absolutely mad how just good the acting was, even from someone as like your number 5 pick in Meryn Trant.
Meryn Trant.
Like from the get-go, he just seems
he's
like
an arsehole.
Because he's the one that kills Syrio Forel.
Does he though?
That's the thing.
Does he though?
I mean, come on though, because all the rest of the Kingsguard are coming around, and he's got a broken wooden sword.
But the first sword of Bravos does not bow down to a knight. I'm sorry, I don't think he killed him. I genuinely, honestly, from season 1 up until season 8, me and Anth were convinced Syrio's come back. That was
actually a big theory, though, that he would come back at some point, because he didn't die on screen. But I don't know. I mean,
if he didn't die on screen, it didn't happen.
I know. I mean,
I say that Stannis didn't die on screen, so could say that about him.
Yeah, he did.
It cuts
before swung the sword at his face.
But it cuts before you see it.
Because we don't need to see Stannis getting decapitated.
I did, because it would have been on my list.
No, I'm defending Stannis now. How dare you?
I'm drawing a
line. One little mistake, and that was it.
I'm sorry, but that little mistake was fucking massive. He burnt his daughter alive.
She was only little.
I thought you were going to say she was asking for it.
No, because that's almost Melisandre's brainwashing. Stannis realised he'd fucked up, but then thought, he was too practical for his own good. I will defend Stannis as much as Stannis defends himself in the realm.
My God, I can't.
Even though Meryn Trant didn't really defend the realm, did he?
No, Meryn Trant was an absolute C word. I'll swear on the podcast, but I'll never say the C word on here. But he was absolutely the C word. He is an awful human being. Word? See you next Tuesday.
Oh, we don't. Okay, I'll refrain from.
It's only one word I don't like saying on the podcast. Pop said it a few times, but not me. I keep my swearing to fuck.
I will keep up the tradition. I will pop in a C word at some point.
At some point, just outrageously.
It's a game. Try and guess. You win a prize.
But yeah, Meryn Trant, wow, that was brutal. Wasn't just satisfying, that was horror level.
It was
murder.
horror level, because if we look back at Meryn Trant and everything like that, obviously, he was knobhead in the King's Guard anyway. I can't remember, was he the one that was beating up Sansa, or was that
Yes.
it
No,
was,
that
I
was
can't remember if it
him.
was, Janos Slint though. It was
No,
one.
Slint would never get his hands dirty.
That's true. Yeah, but obviously he's part of one of the best scenes in Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Obviously, when he's saying, you can't threaten the king, can't threaten the king, and he talks about the difference between.
I'm not threatening the king, Sir Meryn.
I'm
I am
educating my
simply
nephew."
educating my nephew.
Bron, if Sir Meryn Trant talks again, kill him. See the difference?
Do you know what though? The guy who plays him is a fucking sweetheart.
He even looks it on his IMDb picture. He looks like a sweetheart as well, and that's, for me, again, we're always going to come back to the acting, because I don't think any TV show or film will ever beat the acting of Game of Thrones ever. I will die on that hill.
I'll be there with you.
The two Stams just sat on top of a hill,
just waiting.
just waiting. Yeah, just waiting. But again, it seems to be like some of the nicest sort of people can play the worst kind of people.
Yeah.
As well, all the time, and like you said, his death was. I mean, it's also the fact of what happens in the build-up to his death about he's got a tendency for young girls and stuff, and it's just he like whips them and stuff, and it's just fucking weird.
It's the scene where she's standing there and he's going younger.
Oh, younger. She gets like a kitchen maid and she doesn't even know anything, and it's just fuck. Even the guards are like,
that's fucked up.
This isn't
wrong.
Surely.
So to see him getting is a knife in the was it the dagger again? Was that dagger back again?
Yeah, it wasn't. No, it wasn't that dagger, because she didn't have it by the roots, but it was still some sort of knife. But just the way that she did it, and like she blinds him, and they obviously have a bit of a fight. And he's probably one of the only people that's actually put up a fight when being killed.
Yeah,
if you think about every other death is just death.
Happened.
Yeah, but Meryn Trant is obviously fighting back with Arya, and she fucking obliterates him.
Literally, like quite literally.
That's when she probably turns into almost like a heartless killer at this point, because
or understands the importance. Like, it's, do you know what, her list is happening at this point?
Yeah.
Her list is happening.
That's true, actually. Yeah, her list is happening, and it's just the non-emotion on her face. She just slits it and she just stands there like,
because she has to, because she's finally knocked someone off her list. It's like this list, we all know Arya's list. She used to repeat it constantly, and she would add people on there. And I don't think she ever took anyone off, apart from maybe the Hound. But I could be wrong with that.
Well, so I don't think she fully did. I think it just kind of got to a point of where I'll let him live until he be his dick again. Because,
and then I'll come for you and you're on my list.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously she's still a bit of a knobhead to him towards the end and stuff like that. But he finds it more funny because he understands her position. Because at the end of the day, the Hound would kill Arya in a heartbeat even if he just slightly needed to.
I don't think he would.
If it was just for him, in earlier Hound situations, towards the end, no, I think he'd actually die for Arya because of the whole talk before he goes to kill the Mountain. I think that's the only sort of time, because that sort of talk, it finally gets to Arya and stuff like that. The earlier Hound, 100% would have. 100% would have. And he still has that kind of brain, but he has now a bit more feeling and emotion behind his stuff, because he feels like there's a deeper purpose almost.
There's definitely emotion there, but I felt he had that with Sansa, because when he was Joffrey's little puppy, he saved Sansa a couple of times. He warned her. He wiped her face when she got a good smack on the face. And he warns her, like, you need to stop. Like, you're going to end up getting yourself more hurt. You need to rein. And I'm not saying it's right, but you need to rein it in a bit. I don't know. There's something very deep about the Hound that I would love to go into. Like
it's almost protecting the weak. So it's almost like protecting the weak sort of thing, as long as you're not a knobhead, because
Yeah.
you know, and that sort of thing. So I do get it, but I still do think that even if it really came to it, I think that Early Hand would have just annihilated anybody in his path, no matter who, because he was very, very self-centered.
If we're talking like before Game of Thrones, before we see him, then yeah, I probably would agree with that because his brother
He was the
really like
butcher's boy.
fucked. The
He's still the
butcher's boy.
butcher's
Oh my
boy.
god, I forgot about the butcher's boy.
Like literally without, and he was just like,
You
you
fucking
know,
butcher's boy.
yeah, yeah. It's just one. Yeah,
So, Meryn Trant.
it's one of those. Yeah, fucking Meryn Trant.
Fucking Meryn Trant. He had to make the list because he isn't. You've watched him from season 1 being the biggest dick. You think that these guards are doing Joffrey's bidding because he is their king. No, this guy fucking likes it. He fucking loves the fact that he has a sadistic king.
And the fact that you can get away with most things because he's
Kingsguard. Barristan Selmy's gone.
Yeah, before Barristan, if Barristan Selmy was still around, no.
I don't think, no, because he would have kicked the 7 shades of shit out of him.
Yes.
Massively, but he didn't. Fucking
massively,
left. Like a badass like he is. But yeah, for me too. So yeah, there's my 5. Dun, dun, dun. Probably no shockers.
No, that's what I mean. I don't think there's any shockers. It's a good list though. Like it's a solid list because I think you've got a little bit of potentially everything in there, as well as part of like just sheer gore for satisfying in Meryn Trant. You've got someone who's kicked off basically every major storyline, getting his comments in Baelish. You've got just a ratty, horrible cow in Lysa. You know, you've got a lot of different things in there.
Yeah, and they're all kind of linked, which I didn't realize.
Fucking Arya.
Arya's the link.
There's a Stark in every single one of them.
Yeah, it's surprising that.
I know you didn't even realize. That's the funny. You didn't even realize it, and that's the thing is that you don't realize until you actually think. You go, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, because I knew this list from the second Sam pulled it from and said we're doing top 5 satisfying deaths. I went bump. I knew straight away, so I didn't have to write anything down.
It's funniest thing is that it's just literally a Stark woman.
Yeah,
that's it in all 5 of them because it's either Sansa or Arya. All 5.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah, fucking hell. See,
that's not very Lannister of you, is it?
I know. The more the time goes on, because I was like, honestly, I live for Lannister pride. Like I had my pride, and then as time has gone on and I'm getting older, I'm starting to see the Starks in a very different light.
I want the Stark life,
and I don't know if that's the Northerner in me, because I always used to think, because well, you know, the Lannisters are Southern. They are very Southern people, whereas obviously the Starks are Northern, and you have fucking Sean Bean, who's from Sheffield, and even though I am from the Northeast.
Are you sure you're Lannister? Lannisters aren't South.
They are from South.
No, Tywin Lannister's the Warden of the West.
He's still Southern.
Well, he's Southern of the Northerners. It's like the same what people say to me.
Yeah, you're Southern.
I'm Northern, and people say I'm Southern, but I'm a Midland. I'm literally a Midland, middle.
I just get this vibe of Southern from them, and
oh yeah, big time,
massively, and a little bit. We love you all, but no, it's just Sean being from Sheffield. I know I'm from the Northeast, but it's not that far away. And like Mark Addy and everything, like the accent. And can I just talk about Jon Snow's accent for just 1 second? It goes from little like huffy little hoo to full on doing an impersonation of Sean Bean by the end.
Oh man, yeah, it is. He is very huffy, and it's all of a sudden.
But he sounds like Sean Bean. I just wanted to get that out there. He sounds like Sean Bean towards the end. Yeah. So yeah, that is my top 5 satisfying days.
And I'm really glad that we don't share any of our even on the rest of my list.
It kind of shocks us a bit.
I know, because I mean I wrote them down. So I'll give you the 3 that I've got on the list that weren't named anyway. So Viserys Targaryen is on there from season 1, episode 6, just because a king, what is it? A crown for a king.
Crown for a king.
And just a little thud. The thud obviously isn't physical.
It's the scream as well. That scream is piercing. He came very close.
He did, and it's also the whole Daenerys becoming who she more is, because Viserys has died, realizing that Viserys wasn't shit. I've also got
shit.
Yeah, literally. And obviously Viserys thinking he was invincible and untouchable. I've also got Miri Mazdur, season 1, episode 10, The Witch, because she acted like she was going to help Daenerys, but she just wanted to fuck over everybody, basically. She made Daenerys not be able to have kids anymore. She killed the kids she had. She killed Khal Drogo, being a snidey little cow, and then obviously burnt alive. And the screams are very, very satisfying. And the other one that didn't make the list was Locke from season 4, episode 5, who had his neck just completely snapped by Hodor. Because it's just
Oh
very
my
satisfying that
God.
he's a sneaky little Bolton spy. Obviously, you know why he's going up to Craster's Keep,
Ugh.
but then obviously
I
Hodor,
hate
just
when
a
that
quick,
place is mentioned.
and it's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Yeah,
Well,
it
Craster
is
nearly
fun.
made the list as well.
Yeah. It
But my
is.
number 5 was
Okay.
originally was potentially going to be Locke.
Hmm.
Then I remember someone else who just made me squirm every time I was every time he was on the screen. But also, obviously, this still happened at Craster's Keep, and it's Carl Tanner,
Oh, that little rat face, little
the one with the
school.
knives, and just overtook Craster's
Yeah.
Keep, and
Oh,
just
when
the
he
way he
drinks out of
was.
Mormon's head.
Oh yeah, exactly. Just the way that he was just an arsehole. And obviously, he was involved with obviously Jorah's death, and he was just a knobhead all around. He was horrible to Craster's daughter wives, granddaughter wives, however you want to say it, all of
Granddaughter
them.
wives, the
I,
raw.
I
He
know.
is. He's like he's a very much a
He's
fucked
just a
up Walder
northern Walder
Frey.
Frey at this point, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
But he was just such a slimy character, and he just got one of those faces you just want to smash the fuck in. And he's actually winning the fight against Jon Snow until he gets distracted by one of the girls and
Yeah.
gets a sword straight through the back of his face. And it is just satisfying because he just stops completely still and then bam, bam. And it is just such a satisfying death where you're just like, fucking yeah, die, you little scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
fucking die.
but doesn't he have such a lovely villain face?
Oh, massively in the way that he talks as well. He's very
Yeah.
much. He's very slow gravel. He's like really low gravelly.
Yeah, but he's
Almost
got like
Cockney
such
from Fleabag.
yeah, he's got such sharp features and such like very weirdly attractive features.
He's a
Like,
he's a die-cast villain. He's a die-cast villain because villains notoriously are quite attractive. Like a very good villain in most films that you see. TV shows differ, where TV shows do tend to be more of a monsters, but in films, for film's sake, they do tend to obviously be quite attractive people anyway. And yeah, but I 100% agree that he has one of those sort of faces.
Yeah, and the voice helps as well. It's like the guy from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The one with the gravelly voice, who plays his cousin. He has one of the most sexiest voices in the world. It helps his face.
I've no
And
idea.
he's like that.
I'm quite close to Robin Hood country as well. So
Are you really?
well, it's only Nottingham, isn't it? I've seen all the
Oh
Robin
my
Hood
God, I keep
stuff.
forgetting. I see. I've seen.
I've been to the forest where all the cut-out trees are, where they all
You
thought that
have
Robin Hood used
not.
to hide. Oh yeah, I've done it all.
Oh my God.
Nottingham's like half hour up the road.
What do we have? Fucking Lambton Worm. Fucking and mythical worm.
A fucking mythical worm.
I love that.
I mean, 10 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes up the road to me, you know, we've got somewhere where a queen used to live, and there's loads of stuff. Leicester's historical. Leicester needs more fucking respect, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God. I've
Lady
got
Jane Grey.
Oh my
Braggart
God.
Park. That's where she used to live before she was queen for 9 days. Braggart
The
Park.
90s. That is so cool. Yeah, we've got Northumberland. Like
That's it. We've got North.
Harry Potter was filmed here.
That's true. Yeah.
Vera. So yeah, Carl Tanner, that was a good one. That was such a good one. And that is something that you could quite easily forget as well, because it is like it's early doors.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being brutally honest, I was because I obviously did
watching
this before. Yeah, I watched a YouTube video of every. I went for a YouTube video of every named death. So a character that has a name. I went through and watched the entire video and made a list, and 8 were on my list. Because my next pick is Miranda. Ties in a little bit to your
yeah.
2 pick is Miranda.
Oh, get off
Now
that
that's
fucking...
season. I've got the episodes as well because I wasn't gonna get the name of the episode, but season 5, episode 10. Anyway,
I need to up my game here. Like,
just before.
fucking listing names off.
just
and you better
before-
remember when it happens.
I know. But just before Theon turns to help Sansa, obviously Miranda's pointing an arrow directly at Sansa, and all of a sudden you hear a bit of a struggle, and the camera angle turns quite weirdly. And you just see Miranda fly over, and it's a
splat. It's an actual splat, and you see splat.
It's a good. To be fair, it's a decent. I don't think it's as good as the one splat I mentioned, but this is a decent splat. Just because you're expecting, after obviously everything that's happened before with like Theon telling about lighting the candles and all that sort of stuff, you're expecting it just to be the same where something's going to happen to Sansa. Like, don't get me wrong, I think so much should have happened to Sansa in season 8, but obviously this is still season 5 at this point.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And it's just how it happens, and then it comes out of nowhere. You just sat there going, "What? What the
It's
fuck
shot.
has happened?"
It's shot really like it really just like distorts you when you're watching it because you don't know where you're meant to be looking because of the way that the camera angles itself.
Yeah, because it flies round in a really bit of a weird way, and then looks back down again.
And it's like,
really
whoa,
weird.
zoomed out. It fucks your eyes up.
It does, but it's still a majorly satisfying death because Miranda obviously is basically just female Ramsay. She's a cow.
She's trying to be.
She's trying to be.
Because if she was female Ramsay, Sansa wouldn't be standing there.
Well, because obviously Sansa's Ramsay's wife, she couldn't really go killing Ramsay's wife at this point. But I know exactly what you mean. She'd be doing a lot more murdering.
Murders.
A lot more murders.
Yeah.
But that was my number 4 as satisfying. There's not really much to talk about because Miranda's character isn't really much in depth.
She's not really fleshed out, is she? She's just, you know her, you know what she's about. You don't. We didn't need to know where she came from.
It's satisfying because obviously it sets off an integral part that leads obviously up to Battle of the Bastards and everything like that. Because Theon manages to save Sansa, Brienne comes along to save them out of fucking nowhere with a good old pod.
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time, massively, and it's just satisfying for that, but also the splat. That's what made me satisfying. My sort of list goes between something that is, with Carl Tanner, the fact that he was really wormy, sword through the back of the head, cool as fuck. Miranda, cool as fuck because of the splat. The next one though is a character that I loved initially and then just fucking despised. Varys.
Oh my god. What?
Varys. The reason why, because towards the end of Varys's life, and obviously appearances in Game of Thrones, if anyone that he gets killed in season 8, episode 5,
spoilers.
It's just major spoilers. It's very much a case of the reason why, because you love him because he's so different and for the realm. I don't owe anybody anything, and for the realm. And he tries to do that with Daenerys. But then he just goes back, like he says to Daenerys' face, don't do this, as he promised her.
Mm-hmm.
But he just goes back to doing it like he's a fucking snake. Like when I rewatched it, yeah, he is, but he's just rewatching it and stuff like that. I was like, I fucking hate Varys. He's the reason why most of the kings are fucking, like, kings and queens fucking die. It's him. Stupid, bald-headed, no bollock. I was going to say the C word then, but then I thought better of myself.
I've never thought in a million years that Varys would be the one that broke you.
It's just because of when you go through and watch everything and stuff like that, as soon as something goes a little bit wrong, he just jumps ship and then starts funding a new person stuff.
Quite literally jump ship.
Quite literally. And yes, he's good, but I think that it goes on about he's for the realm and all this sort of stuff. I don't really think he is, because instead of trying to sort out the issue that's bad, he just moves on instead and starts supporting someone new.
No, and it's always been the same. It's always been the same since season 1. He always says it's for the realm, but it's the realm he's created in his head. It's
literally
nothing to do with the actual realm itself and what's good for the people of King's Landing or the people of Westeros. It's just what Varys thinks is right for him.
He's created a utopia in his head where he's obviously main advisor and everything's perfect and blah. I mean, obviously not everything's perfect because he's still quite a realist. But he couldn't give two shits about other things and everything like that. And then just
It's that
Just-
I can't get on board with that being satisfying, and I'll tell you why. It is because of Tyrion. It's the relationship him and Tyrion had that would take that satisfaction away for me. But I do get what you're saying when it comes to Varys, and that's silly. Like Varys
he gets his comeuppance. For me, the reason why it's
Varys and
satisfying,
Littlefinger played the game better than anybody else.
better than absolutely anybody, even Tyrion with how smart he was. Tyrion's by far the smartest character in general. But as far as playing the game, nobody plays it better than Varys and Baelish.
Nope.
Because Varys could have been way more powerful, as Baelish did, if Varys was more selfish.
Yeah.
But the reason why, for me, it's satisfying is because Daenerys is clearly struggling with coming to terms with that she's not just walked into the King's Land. She's not just walked into Westeros and everyone's fallen at her feet, as she thought. She's having to do things that she didn't initially want to do. There's turmoil. And the fact then he seeks out behind her back with being warned as well, because Daenerys warns him. She says, "I will fucking burn you alive," and he says, "I wouldn't expect anything different from the Dragon Queen." And you're not thinking much of it at that time, but he goes behind Daenerys' back with finding out the information about Jon, something that Tyrion doesn't do. Tyrion knows at this point that Jon's probably a better pick, and he's there to serve Daenerys and try to fix Daenerys' problems. Varys is like, "Oh, it's going a bit wrong. Jon's a much better pick. He's got a stronger claim to the throne. Fuck it. Fuck Daenerys now. I couldn't give two shits. It's all about Jon." And he's writing things. He's going behind Daenerys' back. And I'm thinking, you fucking witless worm. And then, obviously, it's all found out. And he gets burnt the fuck alive. And he knows it. And he just goes, "I've been caught." I'm like, good. Fucking burn.
Have you seen the table read when they do that?
I said it.
You said it. You said it. Oh my God, he said it.
I said it as well, yeah.
Oh my God. Have you seen the table read when he?
No, I've not watched many table reads of Game of Thrones.
So they did a little behind the scenes filming of the last series, maybe the last few episodes, and you see them doing the table read. Oh my God, you see the first ever table read with all like Arya be like little Maisie Williams being an absolute baby, and then it goes to the final table read, and it's so there's a guy who narrates it, and he says he's like and as he stands on the pier with Drogon staring down at him, we pan away as we don't watch our dear friend burn. And as he says that, the guy who plays Varys just throws his script into the middle of the table, and him, Lena Headey, Gwendolyn Christie are literally just in tears, sobbing. They're like breaking their hearts, listening to the fact that then Emilia Clarke says her line, says Dracarys, and the whole room is just silent. There is not a fucking sound.
Like Baelish, you don't expect Varys to die.
No.
His death is cool because Drogon coming out of the pitch black behind Daenerys and Jon.
I got goosebumps thinking of that.
I know. Tyrion giving Varys, saying, "I'm sorry, but you went too far." Because that's the whole thing as well, is that Tyrion he's almost like, he almost considers it. But Tyrion, for me, does the right thing of, I need to try and fix this mess.
Yeah.
Varys is not about fixing messes. He's like, "Oh, I may have had a part in this mess."
He's going to just create, but he's also creating a bigger mess than what is already happening right now. And Tyrion is really fucking trying his hardest to be a really good Hand of the Queen.
And Varys is not, Varys is doing absolutely fuck all for that, making it worse. And for me, that's why it's satisfying as fuck.
Yeah, I absolutely. I can't see the satisfying part in it, but I do get it. And there's not one I want to add to the list, but one that I want to mention, and it's going to totally throw you.
Satisfying, stupid.
Fucking get his head off, Joffrey. No, is the Lady Olenna.
I was going to put her on the list. That was because the whole conversation that she has with Jaime, and then she's like, I'm sorting that. Tell Cersei it was me. You know, and
Exactly,
that's what she does.
exactly. It's not the fact that Lady Olenna dies because, oh my God, the Queen of Thorns was just everything she was our voice when we couldn't be on screen. She was she really, I mean, she could fucking kill Joffrey. Like,
she almost broke
wasn't
the fourth wall for the most part of it as well, the way that she acted. And
yeah. Diana Rigg, may she rest in peace, was a fucking incredible actress, and she played that part to where I never wanted her off the screen. But but her death scene was so satisfying because of because of what she says to Jaime, and how she when she realizes what kind of poison it is, she's like, fair enough, it ain't gonna, I've got time. Neck that back. Like, she took that like a badass.
About a fucking champ, yeah.
Yes. And then she proceeds to tell Jaime in the most detailed way possible of how she killed his son.
Yeah. It would. I was gonna put, and that's the sort of thing for me. I think it's the sort of thing that the death create. I mean, like, yeah, for Olenna's, I think that has a completely different part of it because of the satisfying moments before her death. Varys' one has the satisfying moment of obviously Drogon coming over, Daenerys keeping her promise, Tyrion having the nice little goodbye with him. But I think it is more satisfying for me because we finally get a character. Because obviously this does happen obviously after Baelish. So you're thinking out of the because at the very start of Game of Thrones, you think one of these two probably isn't going to make it along the way at some point.
But so one of them is. But you always think one of them is, and one of them's going for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Baelish dies. You're like, maybe this is the point where Varys turns everything around, blah blah blah, and he just doesn't. And again, as soon as I sort of, when I was rewatching, and because again, most of these ones I have are from rewatching, and I'd always say to people, go and rewatch because you get a completely different view of just absolutely everything, and you get different feelings and emotions. And I might watch it again and sob my eyes out and be sorry that Varys is gone. But watching it this time round, I just thought, actually, I sat there and went, you know what? Fuck Varys. Like, he's just been he's been for the realm since fucking day one, but he's just not. And we've got Daenerys losing her marbles, and he goes for Jon, who tells Varys time and time again, I don't fucking want it. Go away.
Get on your bike, Varys. Do you think that Varys could have helped Ned?
Oh. In what way?
Just remember, he's on the Great Council.
Yeah.
He knows the truth.
Yeah.
He knows the truth about the Queen's children.
Yeah.
And yet he keeps his mouth shut, and poor Ned loses his head.
And that's, I think, another problem is that as far as the realm was concerned, I think Ned's a tough choice for the Iron Throne because he's way too much honor bound.
Oh God, no, he would never. But he would never be good as a king.
Exactly, but as far as keeping an ally to the north, what is Varys doing? Like, I'm sorry, but letting the north become now suddenly an enemy, like the entire north becoming an enemy as well.
Yeah,
maybe apart from the Karstarks. And we find obviously later on the Boltons, but the north in vast majority of it. That's why I just think that Varys is more for himself than we kind of realise.
Yeah.
He has this sort of utopia. I don't think he views himself as ruling over this utopia because he knows that he can't. That's why he tries to, I think, mould someone else to how he wants them to rule.
Exactly how he. Now, I don't give much thought to Varys and his way of thinking, but when you really look at how he is through the show, it's all for him. It ain't got nothing to do with anybody else. This is how he wants his world, and he is going to create it. And for the best part, he kind of does. And then it fucks up.
He does. But also something that is a really good point is what Dany brings up to him. And she was like, well, you were supporting my brother first, weren't you?
Yeah.
And now me. And it's like, I was like, oh, she's got him. Fucking stupid old twat. Die, Varys. I was so thankful because it's like, because obviously he was the sort of end of the people that weaved all of their webs and stuff like that into the world of Westeros, and
It said she was the breaker of chains. She definitely
she
broke
did.
that one.
She did. I would say the breaker of balls, but he had none.
He had none, and it was pointed out
had
a lot.
0.
He had no balls.
But that's what I mean. It was satisfying because of that, because he was supposed to be there he was supposed to be an advisor, and again you realize that for all the other kings that he's served for, and all the rulers, whoever it is, he's not really served them. He's been more for himself.
Yeah, he's very much one-sided.
Exactly. And yes, he is good to certain people, but when it comes to things regarding the realm, he just fucks it about. He just fucks it about. And
certainly does.
But this ties into another one that is, I'm surprised doesn't make this, because obviously this is probably the most popular satisfying death ever. Can you potentially guess?
I'm going to say Joffrey.
It is Joffrey. I think it has to be Joffrey, just simply because Jack Gleeson, bless him, obviously doesn't want to act anymore because of the whole Joffrey thing, and which is sad.
So sad.
It's very, very sad. If he's happier, by all means. But
do you know what? It's sad for us because of arseholes, we get to miss out on such an amazingly talented person.
Yeah, massively. And the fact as well is that he's still, he's not even that old when he's doing all this. He's not that old at all, and it is really sad that has caused in this. But I mean, he lasts longer than you kind of remember. If you think of Joffrey and stuff like that, you think that he dies really early on for the most part. He doesn't. He makes it nearly halfway through Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
As a whole. Season 4.
I'm just going to walk back a second. I'm just going to open my door because my cat is really doing my head in. Right.
This is not an interval, by the way, everybody.
No, this is just me getting my cat.
Meow.
Meow. Hey,
cat is satisfied now.
I am so sorry. She does this every time. Come on. Now, where you gone? There you go. Right, sorry. Joffrey.
Shut up, cat. It's fine by me. Yeah. I think that because, and again, I think that as most people's list of top 5 satisfying deaths, I think Joffrey's going to top, or at least get onto the top 5 anyway. Just because of how much I've just
an bastard he was.
Yeah, literally, a literal bastard, and also a bastard. From literally day one of Game of Thrones, he is that, and just how he actually, because he's so impulsive as well. Because even when he talks like Tywin Lannister, the whole "I am not tired," and he says a joke he says something towards Tywin Lannister about, even you couldn't do anything. It was my father who won the war and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, bitch.
And then everyone at the table was like, "Oh my god, he's saying it to Tywin Lannister. Oh my god, that is his grandchild, but he's gonna fucking murder him." And then even Joffrey realizes eventually, no. Yeah. But it's the fact of how impulsive he is for things like that, and he's just constantly impulsive. And the whole wedding scene, looking back on it, you kind of can figure it out. Oh yeah, of course he's going to die soon, because he was vile. Like, even for Joffrey's standards, he was publicly vile. Usually a lot of Joffrey's things were behind the scenes, apart from the whole thing with Sansa and stuff like that in the throne room.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, he's very behind the scenes with how
what he did with Ros.
Oh, poor Ros.
She was beautiful.
Poor Ros was stunning. For all you perverts out there.
She had amazing boobs, I'll say it.
Oh god, yeah. we should have. Should we have a top 5 boob episode?
I think we can pull it off.
To be fair, we probably could with how much nudity there is in Game.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, he was a sadistic fuck.
He was completely sadistic, completely sadistic, and he was publicly vile during that service as well. And just the brutality of the fact that we were just watching his face as he got worse and worse and worse.
It looked like everything was getting tighter and tighter, and
everything was getting tighter. All of his veins are popping, and his eyes went, and he obviously died in Cersei's arms. So you're kind of like giving a kind of like ha to Cersei as well, because like, yeah, fuck you, Cersei.
Yeah,
fuck
but
you,
then he had to do that. He had to pull his finger up, didn't he, and point, and when he was pointing at the fucking pie.
Yeah. And obviously we know how it was all done and everything like that eventually anyway, because Sansa's necklace was obviously part of it.
And you do see Lady Olenna go to her necklace and pull it up, and
Yep.
you see her. You don't see a lot more after that, but I'm pleased you don't. I'm pleased I can't go and rewatch it and see the moment. I'm glad there's like a build up to it. Then that
massively.
Mhm.
Because that would ruin it.
Marjorie is a saint throughout this whole episode. That girl puts up with it. She's seeing her future laid out right in front of her on her own wedding day.
Yeah.
And then he goes and dies. It's just genius.
And it is so satisfying because he really was he was different, because this is why I said that Ramsay was a smart monster. Ramsay was highly intelligent. With everything he did was calm and calculated. Even his torture of Theon.
Yeah.
However, Joffrey was just a monster. He had no smarts about him or anything like that. He was dumb as a fucking rock. He was just vile. And that's why it makes it so satisfying when he died, because he died a vicious death for a vicious bastard.
He most certainly did. There's an awful story from Joffrey's growing up days of when he found a house cat.
Oh, did he dismember it or something?
He did. And Robert found out, because he went to Robert with what he had done, and Robert smacked him that hard he knocked two of his front baby teeth out.
Good. We didn't get enough of Robert Baratheon.
We did not. Do you know what? We were robbed. We were robbed. Massively robbed of Rob. Of Robert.
We were robbed of both Robs.
Yeah, massively. I'm going to agree with that. After like rewatching, just seeing how fucking brilliant Robb Stark is, I am totally Team Stark. Like, I am totally changing teams. Like,
Traitor.
my banners are going to change shortly.
Traitor.
I'm going from red to black.
Yeah. If you rewatch season 1, Robert Baratheon he's just a brilliant character.
He's fucking hilarious.
He is fucking hilarious. And even when he has a deeper conversation with Cersei, he has clearly some sort of emotion. And we really don't get enough of Rob, which is why I'm really hoping for a Robert's Rebellion TV show, because if they don't do that, HBO are out of their fucking minds.
Absolutely. I am so for seeing the Robert that we were, the Robert that is told in legend. That's what I am like. But I still want to see Mark Addy play him more.
They could probably have flash forwards to more Mark Addy. The problem is, though, is that Mark Addy isn't the tallest man. And during Robert Baratheon is meant to be 6'6".
My God. Mark Addy does not come close to that. That's like more.
No, Mark Addy, I think, is like 5'11" or something like that.
You need someone like, do you know how I always pictured him? Like Khal Drogo, but with a beard, like with a Robert beard.
A white Khal Drogo, basically.
Yes, that's how I picture. Like that's how I picture him in my head. But I get the casting of Mark Addy because Robert is a very different person to how he was. Once he gets the throne, he changes, and obviously his demeanor, his stature, his posture, his health, that all just fucking goes down with it too.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, to be fair, in the first season we were robbed of 3 characters that I think if I was writing Game of Thrones, I'd have kept. Obviously, I wouldn't make them my main characters to have in there forever or anything like that, but I would have kept them even longer, and that's obviously Ned Stark, Robert Baratheon, and Khal Drogo.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They were all gone in the first season, and you're like, fucking hell.
But yeah, and it's so sad because there was such. But again, their deaths have to mean something. If you think about it, every single one of their deaths drives the story forward. They're not just murdered in vain. It's not just a throwaway murder to where it didn't mean anything.
Care. I just want to see more of them.
I just want Ned back.
Just leave them as ghosts. Have it like Hogwarts Castle where they're just fucking roaming around.
Oh my God, just imagine just the 3 of them just chilling in the crypts of Winterfell, because you know fine well Robert will certain Robert would be there. Not Khal, but Robert and Ned would certainly be.
Khal be there?
Khal wouldn't, because he would have no idea about them. But Robert and Ned in the crypts, because you know fine well Robert's going to be buried with his lady Lyanna Stark, who probably could not stand him.
Yeah, literally didn't even like him. Yeah, it was because even in the first episode, you know, you get this whole picture of Rob and Ned, and when they go into the crypts and you see Rob being like, that's my beloved, that's your sister. They were brothers.
They were brothers.
And then obviously things changed dramatically.
They were brothers till the end.
Oh, they were. More so the whole Lyanna thing though was obviously drastically and dramatically changed.
Yeah.
As far as that she didn't want really anything to do with Rob.
Yeah, she really didn't. She couldn't stand him. And that's half the reason why Ned is very protective of Jon, because he knows fine well what Robert would do instantly if he found him.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that Ned didn't agree with Rob, especially when he became king,
but it didn't stop him loving him.
No, God, no. No. Not in the slightest.
No. Well, shall we wrap this top 5? Brilliant episode, by the way.
I've still got my top pick left.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's only been 4. I know the list is pretty fucking good.
You just threw me. Let's go. What's your top pick?
The last one I love because it's just so vindictive. It's a lot of imagery in your head. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's just straight up revenge. And that is Doria. Because this is 2 people that die, but it's the same scene.
You have such a way of doing this with your list, right?
It's not cheating because it's the same thing.
I'm not cheating.
I could have either or the names, but I have to put them together. It's Doria and Xaro Xhoan Daxos in season 2.
Oh my God! I can't believe you can say his name. I love saying his name.
I don't even know if I said it right. I literally 5 minutes before did a YouTube video. I was like, right, cool, that's what I'm going to stick with.
Xaro Xhoan Daxos. Yeah, you said it right. I love saying his name. When he gets put in that vault. Yeah. Oh,
can you see why I have to put the 2 names? Can you see why I have to
Yeah, because they both. Yeah, I get that. You didn't cheat because they both go in that vault together.
But it's just the way. Right, this is the first time me and someone have actual problems on the. We said at the very start that no, we're still friends. Fuck this.
Fuck friendship.
Let me have my 2 fucking picks. No, but it has to be both of them though, because the scene itself, it goes backwards and forwards. It goes backwards and forwards. We've seen Doria to Daenerys, back to Xaro Xhoan Daxos. But it's just backwards and forwards. As you find out that they're the reason why the dragons were taken properly. Xaro wanted obviously control of Qarth. Doria was just a little slag.
She was.
She just wanted some power as well. She was supposed to be Daenerys' friend. And obviously they go to the vault, open it up and find out that it's all a lie and Xaro is basically a con man. Yeah. Managed to get himself all the way up there by conning people. And when she says, get in. Get in.
Off you pop.
And you're like, oh my God.
But it's the fact that Jorah doesn't even hesitate to give them a little nudge.
I know, Jorah's a fucking badass. Bit weird that he's in love with a little girl, basically. But all that aside,
I think with Jorah and Dany, that love transcends a sexual love.
It's at deeper. Some point, because what's his face, Daario Naharis rubs it in Jorah's face quite a lot.
I just wish we had the real Daario Naharis. I wish we had the blue hair Taroshi that he is meant to be, as opposed to that beige person.
I quite liked him as a character. To be fair, I
love his name. I love saying weird names, and Daario Naharis is one of them.
It is good, but the reason why this tops my list is because it's just it is violent without needing to be violent, because when you don't have to see it to know what's going to happen. They're going to get locked inside there, and they are going to die of starvation in the pitch black, and their bones are never ever going to be. They're never going to be spoken of again.
That is so scary.
It is fucking terrifying as well when you properly think about it, because once that door is closed, they've got the initial panic that sets in, and then they're just like,
oh.
And it's just
and you're gonna survive. You're gonna survive for a bit, because you have a certain amount of hours before shit starts to fucking hit the fan.
Yeah,
maybe even a full day.
You've got way longer than a full day. You've probably got a good 72 hours before your brain starts going fucking properly loopy. Wow. They can't kill. They can't kill each other. Zara could probably have crushed Doria or something like that. Whatever it is, but it's almost like Schrodinger's
He has to see her
multiple.
first, though.
What's that?
He has to see her first. It's really dark in there.
And this is the thing, it's pitch black, and that is especially on Doria as well, because
Mhm.
she was obviously meant to be Daenerys's friend. She's supposed to teach, going back to the Khal Drogo days properly as well,
Yeah.
with how to satisfy Khal Drogo and how that developed Khal Drogo's relationship with Daenerys.
Yeah.
And all she was after was realistically power, and sold out Daenerys because she never thought that Daenerys could come back from that. And you see her just completely break down, and even Zara is like, this can't be happening, but Doria is terrified. She is she begs and begs and begs, and Zara is still trying to con his way out of it.
Yep, and there is absolutely no hesitation in that girl when she says, "Off you pop," and closes the door.
It is so spectacular because it is dark, it's scary, and it's very thought-provoking. And again, you don't really see it coming at all. And for me, that's just one of those sort of things that you sit there and just go, "Oh, that's good. Like, that is good."
Well played, Daenerys. Daenerys
Exactly.
won.
Exactly. It is just that's why it's satisfying to me anyway.
I really like that pick. And it's like the Carl Tenner one. It's not something that's going to be in the forefront of my mind because it's a season 2 death.
Yeah, right at the very end of it as well. Yeah.
Yes, because then she goes in and she's like, "How much for this?" And he's like, "I'll get so many ships." She's like, "Get me some fucking ships."
Yeah.
There is one line in the second series I love, and I hear it every time I pick the book up. Is when she shouts, "I will take it. With fire and blood, I will take it." And every time I see me Fire and Blood book in the living room, all I can hear is her saying, "I will take it."
Yeah. It's I think the season 2 is obviously, we mentioned it before. It can be a bit of a drag at times, and Daenerys' story is a bit of a drag. To be fair, up until season 7. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. She sits on her hands for a lot of it.
She goes between lots of different Slavers-based cities. One thing happens. Oh yeah, well, I've got dragons. And it's basically the same thing almost over and over for 6.5 seasons until
use your fucking dragons. Like, just get on your dragon and ride.
Come on.
I know it's infuriating. And I know it's probably more exciting in the book because it is giving you like it's showing the teachings that Daenerys is getting ready to go and conquer the Seven Kings, and I totally get that. But when you know that this girl is sitting with dragons, all you want to see is her get on a dragon and
2 of them that she's got locked up as well, and Drogon goes walk past until when she's saved in the fighting bits.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is. I think that we've had. I think they're too good. They're too good top 5 lists. They are.
Yeah, they were absolutely spot. Like, yours was spectacular.
What I like about yours more so is because obviously you're doing. To be fair, every episode that we've done so far pretty much has just been straight out of your head.
Because it's the only way I can think. If I put too much thought into it, then it's not me.
And that's the thing that I love about it as well, because I'm a bit more meticulous and I'll go through things in depth. Yours is just everything that we've done so far. Yours has been raw emotion as well.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it so good.
Yeah, you never, because honestly, if I have to think about it too much, then it doesn't come from me, and it's something I feel like someone else. So I actually went on a top 10 list of satisfying deaths today of Game of Thrones. Some of them on there were ridiculous. Cersei was on there. Tywin was on there. Tywin. No. Man shouldn't have died.
Man shouldn't have died, and even any death that Tywin had wouldn't have been satisfying anyway, because Tywin is possibly Tywin is definitely in the top 5 greatest Game of Thrones characters. But the top 5 list of greatest is a bit jumbled up.
Yeah, he's definitely the smartest. He's definitely the most courageous, because he will literally put everything. Oh, I think he's really smart.
Tyrion's smarter. I 100% believe that.
Yeah, but he had to get it from somewhere.
Tywin gets blinded by things as well, though. And towards the end, Tyrion gets blinded by nothing.
Yeah, it's true. That is very true. Right, my dear, we're going to wrap this up because I'm getting my eyes seem to be getting more and more.
They're getting really red as well, I think.
It's because I'm so tired. I've been up since 5:30.
Yeah,
It's
this
now.
is 20 to 10, by the way, guys.
Yeah, I know. But I've really, really enjoyed this episode. It's been, for all it's been, an incredibly sadistic talk. It's been quite funny.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this, considering what it is, I think this is definitely one of our more comical episodes where we've had more of a laugh, considering that people have died.
Characters, not real, but yeah, people have died. So are you going to spin the wheel and let's see what we are doing next week?
What have we got for next week?
Have we got?
We have got another top list, but it's only a top 3 this time.
Oh my, okay.
It's the top 3 fan theories. So I don't quite know how we are going to want to do this, whether or not we go for just top 3 fan theory, even if they were proved right or wrong, just top 3 that we enjoyed.
Top 3 that we enjoy, that, you know, did it come true? Did it not? Could it come true? Will it? We don't know. Does it really care? I have one that I have kept my fucking mouth shut on for this whole entire time that I cannot wait to break out next week. I'm so excited.
I can't wait, because this is a fun one as well, because there are so many, and I'm gonna have. I know. Speaking for myself, I'm gonna have so much. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna take out R plus L equals J.
I think I'm gonna do the same because
that was the biggest fan
that was
theory
the biggest
ever.
one. I remember watching a video when somebody broke it and said it, and then said and then I went and got Anthony. I was like, you've got to come this
you've
shit.
got to see the surrounding thing behind it was just, it transcended everything. Everybody knew about R plus L equals J. Everybody. There was constant videos being made, and everything being made about it. Obviously, it became true as well. Which
that's the best part of it.
It was, because it was just a complete random thing that occurred suddenly. But I think that is, if we can agree on that. I mean, I wasn't going to include it.
No, I totally agree. I think that is a bit of a cop out if one of us was to say that, because it's an easy pick. Yes, mine is phenomenal. It's one that I absolutely love, and I have managed to sit on it. I've came so close to talking about it a few times, but I'm so excited.
I'm interested. I think I'm going to take out as well my whole fan theory, because even if it's just me as a fan theory or someone else, I can't remember. But what I mentioned in our Bloodline Targaryen episode about the identity of Kaith. Kaith, whatever her name is. Because I've already mentioned it before. I love the theory about her being, what's her face? I can't remember her name now, because it's
10:15 at night.
It's 10:15 at night. But I'm going to keep that along, just because I've already mentioned it on the podcast, and I don't really want to be repeating myself too much.
That's true. Too much.
Because I mentioned it was a theory anyway.
If we can avoid going over old ground, we will. But if we can't, then we can't. Do you know what I mean? It's an 8-season show, people. Right. So, wow. Yes, this was brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed to our Patreon channel and who could be potentially watching this on YouTube, because our episodes are now getting put up on YouTube. Yes. So yay! You can find our main podcast that is live on YouTube every Sunday at 7:30. This week is, oh my good God, top cinema experiences. So that'll be an interesting one. And if you want to go back over our back catalogue, you most certainly can. And if you do, you will find Sam's episode of when he was on the charity podcast talking about Game of Thrones. So you can go back on our back catalogue.
That was
a long time ago. It was on, and it is available on YouTube. We have our social medias, which is TikTok and Instagram, our Facebook community page for all of you nerds to come and join and connect together in one big nerd happy family. And we also play video games on Twitch.
It's just all going on at this point.
It really is. There's a lot going on within the Nerdy Up North camp. but yeah, if you are watching us on YouTube and you want to see episodes before anyone else, please go and join us on Patreon. It is £2 a month to see these beautiful faces before anybody else.
Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
It's stunning. After an entire day,
After a full day,
literally
at work.
ready for bed, both of us at this point.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, thank you, Sam number 2. Been fun.
Thank you, Sam number 1. It's always fun doing this. I was genuinely sad that it's been a week.
I'm so sorry for last week.
I finished. No, it's fine because it happens, doesn't it? Because I finished watching my Game of Thrones stuff and that. I've not bought any more pops because, as everyone does know, I'm going through and buying the entire Game of Thrones pop collection because why not?
He is
And
on a
obviously we didn't get-
journey right now.
I am on a journey, and I'd already had all my stuff written down, obviously, for the last one. And it's like this last week, I've like not really had much Game of Thrones.
Oh,
And then as soon as it came to like a couple of hours ago, I was like, yes, I'm fucking so ready
yes.
for it. I'm so ready for it.
Let's talk about some death.
No.
Hey God. Right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.